Right here tonight at 5 for you on Friday, hundreds of countries will learn their fate with the United States when it comes to trade. President Donald Trump making it clear he is not going to be extending a deadline for countries to come up with a trade deal.
Some countries have already received warning letters from the administration that they will face higher rates unless they reach a deal before August 1st. And the trade decisions on the federal level are already having impacts on your groceries. It is our top story here at 5. I'm Connie Leonard.
And I'm Doug Proffitt. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today, the Trump administration is warning about another 25% tariff on India. Governors around the nation are now sounding the alarm.
Discourages investment in the United States because when you're making things here for export, there's always a reciprocal tariff. The other country puts one on us, and so a lot of manufacturing is going to move overseas. I've already heard from companies here saying we're not going to build a factory in Colorado, we're going to build it overseas because we can't pay the tariffs on all the parts and materials that we need to make our product.
Well, for Canada, a tariff on 35% on Canadian products could start Friday. For Brazil, that could go up to 50% tariffs and a 25% tariff on India.
But for major companies like UPS, which of course has a huge traditional footprint right here in Louisville, trade policies with China are having the largest impact. Isaiah Kim Martinez has new information from an earnings call that UPS had this week. And Isaiah, you've also been talking to local businesses, Southern Indiana and Louisville. What are they telling you about the prices because of tariffs?
Well, Doug, they're going up. That's the bottom line here. And it's actually interesting. America's economy, get this, actually grew 3% in Q2. We're talking about gross domestic product, but it comes as we're seeing the cost of everyday goods from electronics to shoes increase. So much of what's sold inside Scott's Mobile Electronics store in Jeffersonville, Indiana is either imported,
coming out of China,
or made of materials shipped in from the country the Trump administration has slapped the steepest tariffs on, China.
The subwoofer we sold a few months ago at $469 now is $539.
Scott Wiebrink tells me tariffs have forced him to raise prices 15 to 20%. His business has been a local favorite, installing audio systems into cars, motorcycles, and boats for years.
It's stressful to watch that the product keeps going up, and eventually, once it gets so high, we are a luxury product. We're not something you have to have. So this is going to be something that's going to get cut out of your budget faster than something else.
Let's see here.
Across the river over in St. Matthews, Matt Muller shows me the change in the price tags for running shoes in his shop since we last spoke in November, right after Donald Trump won a second term.
This is a Saucony Guide. Previously it was a $140 shoe. It's now a $150 shoe.
Muller's prices are set by each individual shoemaker.
It went from $140 to $145. So it's a small increase. Maybe minimal for some, but when we're buying in large quantities, it all adds up. And all of a sudden, you figure a $1,000 invoice is now turning into a $1,200 invoice. And that's just one, and it's happening, across the board.
We're also seeing the reality check for UPS CEO Carol Tomei.
Trade follows policy, and generally, tariffs are not good for trade.
The shipping company with its Worldport hub in Louisville reporting a 3% decrease in revenue and a 9% dip in operating profit compared to this time last year. For UPS, China is their most profitable trade partner. And for Wiebrink's business, in many ways, it's how they survive. Now, the UPS CEO also said because of Trump's tariffs, these are her words, on China, now including items less than $800, international business has taken a significant blow. She says it's resulted in a year-over-year drop in average daily volume of 34.8% for the month of May and June. Connie.
All right, thank you, Isaiah. Well, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says he would like to see how those tariffs will affect inflation before making any changes to interest rates. This is new government data shows the economy defied fears of a tariff-related downturn.
The U.S. economy rebounded sharply in the second quarter, but that's partly because businesses dialed back on buying imports after stocking up earlier in the year to get ahead of President Donald Trump's tariffs. The Yale Budget Lab predicts Donald Trump's new tariffs could result in a 0.5 percentage point drop in real GDP growth.
Those losses mean about $2,700 in increased prices for consumers. Those losses mean fewer jobs in this country and less growth in this country.
President pressuring the Federal Reserve Chair this week to make cuts to the interest rates, but they decided to hold steady late today, did not lower the rates today.
All right, well, are we going to see a return to the 80s?
Well, I know one thing. The breaking news for everybody is this cool front is taking its sweet time to get through Kentuckiana now. And Mallory, you were telling me last night at 11 that it's sort of put the brakes a little bit, but it's still going to get here.
It's still going to come, don't you worry. But tomorrow will still be pretty warm and muggy. Not as hot as the last couple of days, but we could still hit that 90-degree mark in Louisville tomorrow. The big change will arrive Thursday night, more so into Friday and the weekend. Current alerts, of course, we're still under this heat advisory in the orange. That has been the case since last Thursday. Finally expires this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern time, as does this extreme heat warning from Jasper to Litchfield and areas off to the southwest here. Of course, we have lots of sunshine again today. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s, low to mid 90s, but our feels like temperatures not as bad as the last couple of days. Of course, still plenty muggy out there, feeling like the mid to upper 90s and triple digits, but the changes, our dew points are just a couple of degrees lower than they have been, and that does make a big difference. Even in areas like Jasper, which has been dealing with a dew point around 80 degrees the last couple of days. Louisville, we're actually below that 70-degree dew point there, so that is what's impacting our feels like temperature or our heat index. Obviously, if you have any plans this evening, you still want to stay hydrated because it's plenty hot. The sun is shining, and with that, we do have Waterfront Wednesday tonight. Starts at 6 p.m. Expect temperatures in the low 90s at least at first, feeling like the mid to upper 90s. Staying dry, just a very light north wind coming in around 5, maybe up to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, staying warm and muggy. Lows drop back into the 70s. And then, as we mentioned, that front finally arrives tomorrow, bringing us a spotty rain chance, but then finally that relief Friday through the weekend. We'll talk much more about those highs in the 80s coming up in our 7-day forecast.
You hear that familiar sound, they're going to be back on the roads. The buses, thousands of New Albany, Floyd County students today who just finished up their first day of school. The district has 115 bus drivers there in southern Indiana, many taking on 2 routes to keep things rolling smoothly.
At Fairmont Elementary, the first bell brought a global buzz as the principal says her school is home to dozens of students learning English as a second language.
School is a great place for kids, and we do our best to make it the best place they are all day. Students come to Fairmont and they make friends with kids from all over the world. It's like a little mini United Nations at lunchtime.
Now, many Indiana districts have a balanced calendar. That means they have a shorter summer break, but then the students will get more frequent breaks throughout the year, including 2 weeks off in the fall. JCPS begins school next week on August 7th. Ahead of the first day, the district says it has enough bus drivers, but LMPD is still short on crossing guards.
WHAS11's Ian Hardwitt and photojournalist Levi Hammer today are looking at the safety and traffic as school comes back fast.
78 LMPD crossing guards like James Wilkins help kids get to school.
But if I can get anybody over the fear of working in the streets, anybody can do this job.
Currently, the department's about 30 crossing guards short of its full capacity.
And we are looking for applicants who want to give back to their community, who want to come out. If you're a grandparent or retiree, we're looking for those people to help.
JCPS is always hiring bus drivers, but Rob Folk, head of JCPS Transportation, said he has enough for the first day of school.
We had our first scrimmage today for our buses. They are all within our parameters that we feel like it was successful this morning. We'll run the afternoon scrimmage today.
That marks an improvement over 2 years ago when practice routes ran an hour behind schedule, leading to the JCPS busing disaster. With buses back on the road, remember it's illegal to blow past the stop sign on the side of the bus. Driver Jeffrey Pinnock says it happens at least 5 times every day.
That's one of the scariest things too, because your door's open, your kids are getting ready to go off, and you see this car coming down the side, and you're like, whoa, I shut the door, told them, hey, let's wait a few minutes, and I'm looking in my mirrors, and then we'll let them off.
It's a risky move that could be caught on cameras, now recording on all buses.
Both inside and outside the bus. So vehicles that pass the bus while the stop placard is out will be seen, recorded, and could be prosecuted.
Superintendent Brian Yearwood also said to expect long car rider lines on the first day, especially if a school struggled with it previously. He's tapping JCPS police for assistance.
Officers will be out to help navigate some of that.
Here at Norton Elementary School, the line is known to stretch all the way down this road out in front of the school, blocking some of these businesses like the animal hospital. And that line will even stretch down to the Brownsboro Road intersection further down, 2 miles away from the new VA hospital. The roadway construction backups by the VA site are a Kentucky Transportation Cabinet responsibility.
We've notified all of the schools, and we've got some plans in place to stage our buses a little bit earlier and try to make sure that we can get them there on time.
Leaving the delays of 2023 in the dust as new construction dust could get in the way this year. In Louisville, Ian Hardwick, WHAS 11 on your side.
And a spokesperson for AAA also warned and reminded people against distracted driving and walking.
That's right. They say it's becoming more common for kids to walk to school with their headphones on. So be careful. Another thing to look out for. As a reminder, by the way, we do want to see your back to school, your first day photos. When your day comes, go ahead and text them to the number on your screen right here directly to WHAS 11, 502-582-7290. That's text only. And we might just have you right here on WHAS 11 News at noon.
And happening tonight, JCPS is hosting the second in a series of public forums with Dr. Brian Yearwood. The goal is to create open conversations. People will be able to ask questions, share perspective, and hear about the superintendent's mission and vision for JCPS. There will be more of these meetings over the next few months. Tonight's event is at Fairdale High School from 5:30 to 7. The next one is Tuesday, August 12th.